not do anything, or you're too tired, too sore, you just don't feel like it, those days, those are the days that count. When you have those feelings, it's even more important to step up and get something. If you've got something to do, don't put it off till tomorrow. Don't do that. Don't voluntarily do anything tomorrow that you should be getting done today. Get it done today. Don't wait. Attack it, destroy it, and move on.
Every single day when you wake up, you got two options. You can look at the clock and hit the snooze. You can look at that snooze button, boom. You can hit the snooze button and go back to bed and dream about what you want to have. Or you can look at that snooze button, kick that clock, and get up and go pursue your dreams. And the problem with some of y'all is you want somebody else to support your dream. It's yours. I don't want you to die. It's your dream. If you want it to happen, reach your butt up and make it happen. If you want it to happen, ride and ride. If you want it to happen, you won't have to do what I do, and that's get up at 3 o'clock in the morning. And you won't have to act like you got all the energy in the world. Why? Because this is my time. This is my moment. Tomorrow. Ain't no such thing as tomorrow. We only got today.
Greatness will cost you something. It's going to cost you some time. It's going to cost you some energy. It's going to cost you some sacrifice. It's going to cost you some resources. It's going to cost you some hours of your life laying down, paying the price, going the extra mile, doing what other people are not willing to do. Greatness is not cheap. Greatness always costs more. That's why there's not many people who achieve greatness. They're not willing to pay the price.
That's the kind of attitude you need. That's the attitude of a winner. Is I will do whatever it takes.
Every decision you make, the decisions you make on Monday, the decisions you make on Tuesday, the decisions you make on Wednesday, if you decide to hit the snooze button, what you're doing is you're 10 minutes away from your goal now. You just went backwards. So whatever your goals are, whatever your dreams are, whatever your destiny is, your decisions have to be in alignment with them. Now, if you want to be broke for the rest of your life, keep doing what you're doing. But if you want something different in life, you gotta do something different. You gotta go all in. And mental toughness says, not only do I climb that doggone mountain, I enjoy climbing the mountain. I get a kick out the mountain. I get a kick out the weights. I get a kick out of going up against the #1 team. I get a kick out of fatigue. I get a kick out of the grind. I get a kick out of it. And the reason why some of you are not where you're supposed to be, you're giving yourself an option. You're giving yourself an out. You're giving yourself an excuse. But you have what it takes to do it. And the problem with some of you in this room, you don't have no drive. You ain't got nothing pushing you. You have no reason. You better find one before you get out of here today. You don't belong at the bottom. And it's time for you to get your butt from down there. It's time for you to stop being comfortable at the bottom. Get your butt up and get to where you're supposed to be. You are royal priesthood. Get where you belong. Do what you're supposed to do. Live like you're supposed to live.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Mr. Jones.
How are we doing today?
All's well, sir.
All is well? Hope all is well with everybody else? Yes. At least you're breathing, your heart's working.
Yes.
That's a good start.
Stretch your arms.
It's always good to stretch your arms, get the blood circulating. Very good. All right. So give me a moment and we shall begin today's class. Of course, we'll begin with the announcements. Okay. Okay, let's see. Today we're going to we're going to continue our discussion about development through the lifespan. Now, today's focus is mostly going to be on how kids, I should say it's a theory, a very trusted theory about how kids develop cognitively as they get older. So we're going to be looking at that, and then we're going to, from there, we're probably going to go right into adolescence. First, adolescence is those teenage years. That's what most of us experience when we're pretty much in high school. We might get a little bit into adulthood, but probably not, but I don't know. Also, don't forget, Monday, October 13th, those next two quizzes are due. Chapter 6, memory. Chapter 8, emotions and, well, motivation and emotion. Let's do Monday, not Tuesday. Monday. So if you get here Tuesday and you haven't done it, it's too late. Okay? Okay, now there's one thing I haven't really spent a lot of time going over it. I mentioned it at the beginning of the semester, but I'm gonna mention it, we're gonna discuss it at the end of class today. And that is, if you haven't already done it, if you haven't already seen it, you have what's called a midterm assessment activity. Anybody seen that? I'm gonna show you where it's located. It's a real simple activity. If you've done it or haven't done it, it's real simple. It's really just reading an article, a very short article, and answering like 5 questions. I'm gonna show you where it's at. It's actually in lesson number 4, but I'm gonna pull it up on the computer at the end of class because some of your classmates are not here yet. Some of them are gonna come later. So I just wanna make sure everybody has this information. Any questions? All right, so let's resume. Now, we kind of left off on Tuesday talking about the different parenting styles. And you did that in-class assignment where you identified which parenting style or styles were used to raise you. Yes.
When's the next test?
The next test is the week of October 21st.
And the type of lesson we'll do to practice those words that'll be on the test?
We'll do a review activity, yes, before the test.
When will that be?
Probably on October the 16th. Any other questions? Okay. All right, so we talked about the different parenting styles. This is just a little example of how the parenting styles differ and also the type of behavior that could happen. I'm not saying it will happen. This type of behavior that could develop in a child based upon how they were raised. So I'll go through this real quick. So let's say it's about cleaning your room. That's the focus. And so this is how the different parenting styles would deal with cleaning up the room. Now, the authoritarian parent that is very hardcore, punitive. You don't clean up your room, I'm gonna take away your phone for good, like forever. You're never getting your phone back. Now, that could produce a child that grows, that starts to get older, they're not really that sociable, they might be unfriendly, they might be a little withdrawn. Now, the permissive parent, she's gonna say, or he, because they're not demanding, they're putting their emphasis. It might be good to clean your room, but I guess it can wait till whenever. That might produce a child who is immature, moody, very dependent on others, and may have poor self-control. They get emotional and they lose their mind. Now, the authoritative parent, which we kind of said was pretty much the one that most people agree is the desirable. That's where they set firm goals, but they're willing to discuss things and encourage independence. So when it comes to cleaning the room, they'll say, okay, you need to clean your room before we can go out to the restaurant. And basically, whenever you finish, we can then go. So they kind of explain. We talked about, this way they kind of explain to the child what the goal is. Parents who use this style, they typically have kids who are very good socially, they're likable, they're self-reliant, and they have independence. And of course, finally, the uninvolved, detached parent who really act like they don't really care. So, as it comes cleaning up the room, I can care less than cleaning up the room. And that may produce a child that's really very indifferent, or you might have a child that simply doesn't care about stuff when they say indifferent. So that's that. Any questions about parenting style? All good? Moving on? All right. Now, something that's very important, or something that's very beneficial for children to develop, and something that's so important that we carry with us the rest of our life. What I'm talking about is the word that's underlined. It's called resilience.
What's the lesson about today? What chapter?
Chapter 9, development.
Chapter 9, development?
That's what we're doing.
Okay.
Now, I know you're writing this down. Resilience is something that's, some people put it under the heading of temperament, which is an inborn characteristic of how people naturally are or how people naturally behave. And children can vary by how much resiliency they have.
Children also vary considerably.
But
Their degree of resilience, the ability to overcome circumstances that place children at high jeopardies for psychological or even physical harm.
Now, resilience, the ability to overcome circumstances that place children at high risk for psychological and even physical harm.
Overcome
Okay,
circumstances.
so children
Please.
have to understand that things are going to happen
Children
because
at high
they happen
jeopardy.
to us as adults. And ultimately, we all need to overcome our circumstances. But with children, let's see how we do.
Psychological or physical.
There are going to be certain circumstances that can affect the child psychologically or even physically. You have to be resilient. You have to learn to overcome difficult situations. If children do not know how to deal with difficulty, it's going to create a problem. If a
Okay.
child is in school and, let me think of an example. They don't get a good grade on a test. If they lack resiliency, that may cause a spiraling degree of sadness and depression.
Okay.
We're not going to always get the score we want on the test. Children need to learn that. Children need to know things are not going to always go your way. But if you have a parenting style where you're either negligent or you give children whatever they want, they kind of get spoiled. And so when something doesn't go their way, little kids make tantrum. I'm sure many of you have seen kids tantrum. Some of you may have been kids that tantrum. I don't know. Yes.
Do you know the opposite of spoiled?
What's the opposite of spoiled?
Yeah.
um,
Well-grown, mature person.
I would go with that. Mature. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you guys know by now, life doesn't always go your way, right? I mean, I'm assuming you guys know that, right? Sometimes you don't get the test score, sometimes you don't get the job you applied for, sometimes you don't get the girl or the young man that you want to date. And you have to push through because life is not a smoothly paved road where things just, you want stuff and it just goes your way. I've heard some really unique conversations with people your age in therapy where they have said some things that just because they say this is what they want in their life, it's now supposed to happen. I've had so many young men talk about, I want to be a rap artist. Okay. Well, you got some lyrics? You got some sort of
That's disgraceful.
you're in a studio, you producing beats? No. Well, how are you gonna be a rapper? I know there was a girl in one of these classes, I remember she wanted to be an influencer. I was like, okay, so you posting stuff? No, not yet. The whole semester, when you gonna start posting? I'm gonna get to it. How you gonna be an influencer if you're not gonna post anything? Does anybody have an idea how that can happen? I mean, I thought I thought the way it works, you gotta pose, like, so people think just by saying something, it's gonna happen. I had one student, he was a client actually, he said, how old was he? I think he was 20, 21. He said, Mr. Frank, he came to the office, I finally figured out what I wanna do with my life. I'm all ears, what you gonna do? He said, you know, I like going out and partying, so I like clubs. So, I wanna open up my own nightclub. He's like, okay, that's cool. You got a plan for how you can make that happen? Like, you gonna start out with a small club and expand? He's like, no. He pulled out his phone, showed me, this is the club I'm gonna have. He showed me, it was a multi-million-dollar hotel in Las Vegas. It's one of those clubs where all celebrities party, when they do private parties. Like, yeah, this is the club I'm gonna have. I said, okay, that's great. You know this club costs millions and millions of dollars. I didn't even go into the politics of trying to open up a club in Las Vegas, because this is crazy stuff trying to do. I said, so where do you get the money? He said, that's the easy part. I said, really? What's your plan? He said, Bitcoin. Okay. See, that's an idea. So he thinks it's going to be just that simple. That's that expectation that life is going to be smooth, a smooth world. I'm not saying you can't make money from Bitcoin. First of all, it's very risky if you try it. I don't know how anybody invest in Bitcoin. It's very risky to do it. And even if you are to make money in Bitcoin, you have to start out having money to make money. You got to take some money and buy some Bitcoin and hope that the value of it stays high and it doesn't go low, and then you lose money. But anyway, so you got the definition of resilience. I just wanted to throw that out and discuss that real quick. All right. Now, we're going to get into the cognitive development of children, how children over time, how their brain changes. And there's a guy named Jean Piaget. He came up with this theory about the children's brains go through 4 different stages. And a lot of people really value his perspective, and they think he's pretty accurate. So the first 2 stages, I'll let you write these down. The first stage is sensory motor stage.
Sir,
Here's what's underlined, and then underneath at the bottom is something that's missing at this stage. It's called object permanence.
sir, did we go through cognitive development before?
We talked about cognitive development. We talked about the word cognitive meaning how we think, or how a person thinks, but this is the first time us looking at cognitive development, because now we're going to see how children over time, how their minds evolve and change and grow.
Sensory motor stage.
So this is the first stage that Piaget came up with, the sensory motor stage. Pay attention, because that first part of the word is sensory, so it must have something to do with senses. Who needs to sign on this side? So then there's another one. Where's the other one?
Those infants. Taking in the world through their senses and actions.
Anybody on this side?
Looking, hearing.
This is one of those days where it's really going to be good to be here, because I'm going to explain to you what a lot of terms really mean when they come up. So, you'll see what I mean in a second. Because when I explain object permanence, you see the definition, it's right there.
Isn't
Right there. But I don't know if you really know what that means, because like I said before, our textbook,
fully
I don't think
understanding
does a great
things.
job of explaining this stuff. So, sensory motor, the stage,
Standing.
cognitive development, is the between the ages from birth to
things
2 years
in their
old,
environment.
where infants take in the world through their senses. We know we have how many senses?
Including images,
We
language.
have 5. Taste, touch, smell, hearing, what else?
Images,
Taste, touch.
language, or other
Oh,
symbols.
see, that's how they take in the world. By looking at things, they listen, they touch, they're grabbing things, and infants are constantly putting stuff in their mouth.
They lack.
That's how they learn their world. This is the sensory motor stage. Now, also at this stage, there's something that they don't have. It's something they haven't developed yet, and it's called object consciousness. Now, the textbook defines it as an awareness that objects and people continue to exist even if they are out of sight. Now, I mean, does that sound a little confusing? I'm explaining what that means. Okay. And that's Mike. Am I gonna take a shot at what that means? Object consciousness?
People.
So, what they're saying is that from birth to 2 years old, children don't understand that just because they can't see something,
Exist. Even.
they think it doesn't exist. That's what they think. Some of you in this room have played with a baby and you did what's called peekaboo, right? Where what happens is, let's say you have a towel, and you put it in front of you, and you raise it, go peekaboo, and the baby sees, the baby's all excited, oh my gosh. Because what happens in the mind of that baby, when you have that towel in front of you, you have disappeared. It's freaking magic. And then when you raise it up, they're like, oh my God, she's back. And you do it again, and you just keep disappearing in front of them. They don't realize that actually you're behind the towel. They have not grasped that concept. From birth to 2 years old, if their favorite toy falls behind a chair or a couch, it is gone. They have no idea, oh, if I just go around the couch, I can find my toy.
Sir, could you go back to cognitive development, please?
Well, there's nothing where it's kind of just what you think. This is, we're discussing it right now. You're good. So, they don't understand that things exist just because you can't see them. So that's probably one reason why they panic so much or cry when the mother leaves. They're like, oh my God, they're gone forever. So object permanence, that is an awareness that objects, people exist, even if they're out of sight. Now, as the kid gets older, they know when you put that towel in front of your face, they know they just moved the towel. You're right there. Duh. They know that. But until they get to close to 2 years old, they lack object permanence. Now, the next stage, Piaget's next stage of cognitive development, this is his theory, is called pre-operational stage. We just went from 0 to 2. This stage is from 2 to 7. And at this stage, they have difficulty with something that's called principle of conservation, which is also a very weird, convoluted definition that I'm going to give you visual to help you understand what that means.
Age. Characterized by language development.
Anybody see kind of tendency sheet?
By language development.
Outstanding. I'll bring it over to you. Actually, he's going to bring it over to you. Thank you very much.
Egocentric thought.
Egocentric. So at this stage, there's a few things happening. Like that, you yourself.
A way of thinking in which a child views. Thinking which child views the world entirely from
Now,
his own experience.
Pre-operational, the period from 2 to 7 years of age that is characterized by language development. Basically, they're saying from 2 to 7, children are learning how to talk.
Point of view.
Words, they're starting to form sentences. Now,
Principal
something that also
conversation.
happens is egocentric thought, which I don't need you to know that, that's why I didn't underline it. It's just a way of thinking which a child sees the world only through their perspective. Like, what does that mean? That means a child who's about 3 years
Difficulty
old,
understanding.
when they look outside the window and they see a bird fly by, they think you saw it too. It's egocentric. They think what they see, you see. They're standing in front of the TV
That's
pointing
funny.
at the dog, and they're like, see dog? You're like, no, I can't see because you're in front of me. They just see their world through their eyes, and so if they see it, you see it.
Number
Child might
can
even get mad because you didn't see the same bird that through the window. There's a bird. You're like, I don't see a bird. Like, okay, I get it, but they don't. They think you
the
saw
same
it.
despite changes in
Now, the other thing children at this age have difficulty with is called the principle of conservation. Now, your textbook defines it as difficulty understanding that mass, volume, and numbers can remain the same despite changes in shape. That's very wordy. Let me show you what they really mean by principle of conservation. This is something kids from 2 to 7, they struggle with understanding this concept. Here is the concept. So I'm gonna, right? Anybody have any little sisters, little brothers? Like, unlike at this age, 2 to 7? Yeah. So, a lot of this you might have witnessed firsthand.
Have we learned about cognitive development before?
Nope, not like this, nope. All right. So we have this cute little girl here. Somebody put 2 glasses of milk in front of her. This is what she don't understand. And then, as we can see, these 2 glasses, they have the same amount of milk, right? Same amount of milk. But all of a sudden, they bring over a much narrower glass, and they take one of the glasses of milk and pour it into the narrow glass. And they ask her, which one of these has the most milk? And which one is she pointing at? Which one is she pointing at? Is the taller one, does the taller one have more milk?
No.
She doesn't understand that yet. She doesn't yet understand the principle of conservation. Just because the shapes and stuff are different, that doesn't mean that they hold different amounts. She doesn't get it. Now, as she gets older, you won't be able to fool her. Because right now, that could be milk, that could be candy. You put a little piece of candy in there, she's gonna go, she's like, which one you want? She's gonna pick that one. Because she don't know, they're the same. So that's what conservation is about, or at least the principle of conservation. When kids at this age, they don't get it, but they will. They will. At some point, you won't be able to fool them. We're good here? Okay. So now we went 2 to 7. Let's move on to the next stage. There's 2 stages: concrete operational, and then the last one is formal operation.
concrete operational stage.
Once we get these 2,
Operational
that will complete
stage.
Piaget's theory on cognitive development. Now, is he accurate? Is he right? Most people kind of agree what he says has some value. So, there, of course, there are other theories. It's not like he has the only theory on cognitive development, but in the world of child development, people kind of acknowledge this.
That's characterized biological. Biological thought.
clearly, you need to know the difference between these 4 stages, but it shouldn't be too difficult.
Formal operational stage.
Concrete operational stage.
Preparing
This
from
is now from 7 to 12. This is characterized by the child being able to have some logical thought. They can start to figure things out. They can figure things out. They're no longer demonstrating egocentric.
characterized.
They know that sometimes they see stuff and somebody else didn't see it. They know. They saw the cars crash and they can tell you about the car accident. They don't expect you to have seen the car accident too. They've grown through egocentrism. 7 to 12. And then the last stage, according to TJ, is the formal operational stage. And that's from 12 years old until adulthood. That's it. That's where you can have abstract thought. You can make logical conclusions. We can reason. You can figure things out. You can think philosophically. You can think abstractly. We can do a lot of stuff at this stage. Now, your textbook says something I thought was interesting. I don't know if this is true or not. I always tell you question everything. There are studies that indicate only 40 to 60% of college students and adults fully reach this stage. That sounds crazy. So they're saying some people have not reached this stage where they use logic and reason to solve problems. I hope, I can't imagine. That's really high. 40 to 60% of college students? That's really high. I don't know how to do that. But it's interesting. Everybody got that? All right. We don't need that. But we're moving on to a really wonderful time in our lives, adolescence.
The developmental stage.
Developmental stage between childhood and adulthood. Now, you don't have to answer this question if you don't want to, but I'm curious. When it comes to adolescence, like I said, it's between childhood and adulthood, the teen years, how many of you do you feel like you had, the teen years were great for you? Like high school was great for you? How many of you? What? Oh, come on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? The rest of you all didn't enjoy high school? Who didn't enjoy high school? Raise your hand. Most of you did not enjoy high school. Well, in all fairness, that is a very difficult period. I mean, let's be honest. Because you're no longer a child, but sometimes people treat you like a child, but you're not fully an adult either, so they don't treat you like it is. And I always say, on top of that, when you're an adolescent, for better or worse, your emotions are extra. I always call it plus emotions. What do I mean by that? I mean, when you're a teen, and some of you have experienced this, or you have friends, when you're a teen, if a teenager is angry, oh my God, they have ready to lose their mind. They'll fight, they'll break stuff, they'll destroy their own stuff. Their emotions are so heightened. If a teenager is happy, they can be practically goofy and annoying. And if a teenager is sad, I mean, we're talking slipping into depression, and break up with somebody, and they're questioning whether they want to be alive again. Those emotions are all on extra, they're plus when you're an adolescent. I think about some of the stuff that when I was a teenager, I found a bunch of papers and stuff that I wrote, like notes to myself and poems that I wrote in high school. I read them recently. I was, what was wrong with me? I was really struggling. I'm not even lying. I could bring it. I wrote a poem called Dust Rag. And that poem was about me feeling like people just use me like they do a dust rag. And then when they're done, they just cast me to the side. That's what I wrote in high school. Like, I was like, what kind of, I don't even remember being that out of, but like it was a bunch of different things that I wrote like that. It was talking my struggles with school, relationships. Like I was like, wow, all my emotions were on extra. Then, of course, you, as if your emotions and trying to control your emotions isn't enough, you got to navigate what's going on in your house. Typically, you have more conflicts with your parents. Then, you're trying to navigate your social life. Trying to get friends, keep friends, trying to fit in. And in high school, we got all those little groups that sometimes we refer to as cliques. What were the, okay, let's say, name some of the groupings or cliques typically in high school. What are some of them? Well, yeah, what are some of the cliques?
Sports kids.
The jocks. That's one group, the jocks. Who tend to be the more popular kids. They tend to be very popular, the jocks. That's one group. What's another group in high school that's common? Oh, I can't stand it. The bullies. The bullies are people who, I think they want to be popular, and they think they can be popular by being bullies. Okay, what's another group?
Music kids.
The music kids? Would you put the theater kids with them? Music and theater kids?
We didn't really have theater.
You didn't have theater? Oh, so at your school, you got the music kids. Okay. All right, who else we got? We got the music kids. We got the jocks. Who else we got? What are the cliques? What are the groups in your high school? You know what? You could say special ed, but I don't know if that's a big enough group, but I'm gonna put special ed kids with, how about the people who are considered nerds? How about that? The really smart kids, maybe special ed, maybe not, if they get, so, yeah, nerds tend to, yeah, they kind of get a bad rap. Most of us end up growing up and working for nerds, but anyway. So, okay, well, so we got nerds, we got jocks, we got music kids, we could also have the artsy kids. If we do music, we can do artsy kids, and then we can include the drama kids too. What other cliques are there? Right?
The people who be doing drugs in the bathroom.
People who do drugs in the bathroom? Okay, so, I don't know what we call them, the druggies? What do we call them? The druggie kids? What, that's gonna include the ones who sell drugs too, right? We're gonna include them in that category too? Okay, so those who sell and use, okay. What other groups we got? See? Are you gonna say something?
I think you said the artsy kids.
The artsy kids. Did anybody have, I don't know what was your school, what, emo or goth kids?
I was gonna say emo.
Okay, so you got a yes? Okay, so I never get the difference between those two, because they seem like they wear black a lot, right? Kinda. They're different.
Different though.
It depends. I mean, is there a difference between goth and emo? Because I don't know.
Yeah.
Like the goths wear like more like Catholic fashion.
Who wears the Catholic fashion?
The goths.
And what do the emo kids do?
Well, they wear bands on them.
They wear bands. Who's wearing black all the time? They're black natives.
Both.
They're both doing all.
They use
See, that's why I get confused.
They use black as a tool, but like,
One wears darker color. You can't get darker than black.
Yeah, there's like different, there's like scene, like emo, gothic, there's like so many.
Okay, so y'all get in trouble. But some of you have both. You have goth kids and emo kids at your school. Do they get along?
Sometimes, but they're weird.
A lot of overlap. Okay. Now, I know we mentioned the athletes, the jocks. You have the jocks. The jocks, I feel, also kind of fit with another group, which I'll simply call the popular kids. And you could be popular because you are a jock or a cheerleader, but you could also be popular because maybe you have money, you have a nice car that you drive to school, you dress, you wear the latest gear. Maybe you're a very good-looking guy or a very attractive young lady, and so that makes you popular. Maybe you're very entertaining or funny. You entertain, you crack jokes in your classroom, and so you're popular with that. So, any popular people in this classroom? People who are popular? Nobody in here was in a popular group?
no, just.
I mean, you know, you know you're in a popular group when more people knew your name than you knew their name. That's when you know you're, I mean, seriously. The popular kids, everybody know, that you know, that's so-and-so. You know who the popular kids' girlfriend and boyfriends are? You may not even know them. You're like, yeah, he dates so-and-so, she dates so-and-so. I mean, they get invitations to all the parties. Every party, they get, whether they go or not, they get an invitation. Like I said, there's different reasons why they're popular. I mean, if a guy is really good looking, he don't need to be a jock. He don't need to be an evening. He's gonna be popular. And then, I mean, there may be other groups. The other group I always like to add, I make up a group. I call it the regulars, which I think most people fit. They don't fit in any one of these categories. They might even be able to get along with different people in different categories. Was anybody who got along with everybody, or most people? No? Okay, right. So that means you may have a friend who was popular, but then you also had a friend who would be considered a nerd, but then you also had a friend who was in drama club or in the band. You just get along with everybody. You go in the cafeteria, you can talk to a lot of different people. But a lot of times, we get out of groups. And all of that is us trying to fit in. Wonderful world of adolescence. Who would want to do high school all over again? I guess that's a no. You prefer not to do that. Yeah, I understand it's a challenging period. I just told you it's challenging for me too. The good thing is, once you get out of high school, your world is so different. Like in high school, if you wear the same jeans every day, you might get roasted. In college, don't nobody care. You can wear the same jeans, the same hoodie every day at school. Don't nobody even care. You did that in high school? What's wrong with you? You ain't got no clothes? Those last year Jordans, why you wearing those Jordans from 5 years ago? Nobody gonna say nothing about your Jordans in college. I'm sorry, they're just not. They're not even looking at you. They really don't care. So yeah, that's why high school is just, that's so much, and it's really just a bunch of insecurity. That's really all it is. It's just insecurity. Trying to figure out who you are in the world, who you are compared to other people, who you are even in your own family. Which is, you know, it's definitely challenging. All right, now, since we're talking about adolescence, let's talk about some physical changes that happen in adolescence.
Period in which
Go through something called
adoration.
puberty.
This way.
Now, like I said, this whole chapter development is about how we evolve and change physically, mentally, emotionally, cognitively. And so now this is about a physical change that's happening. Now that we're in adolescent stage. Physical changes in adolescence also can complicate a teenager's life. Whether you're a boy or a girl, your life potentially can get complicated. So at this age, at some point, we go through what's called a growth spurt. Typically, most of us, maybe not everybody, but usually happens around 10 for girls or 12 for boys. And so what we're saying is, so a 10-year-old girl may actually start developing breasts, she may start developing hips, elbows, and for a boy, his voice might start getting deeper, start getting body hair, and then there may be the sexual feelings starting to arise. It can be very challenging for both boys and girls. For girls, it can be challenging because here you are at 10, 11 years old, and you're developing all these, you're getting curves. Now you feel uncomfortable and awkward because maybe the other girls haven't developed yet. And now you're getting unwanted attention from either boys. You might be getting teased, or you might be having older boys hitting on you. So some girls who developed too early, they start wanting to hide their body. They try to hide the curves in their body because they don't want that unwanted attention. They don't want the teasing. And then for boys, depending upon when they have their growth spurt, some boys have their growth spurt later on in life, and so they're in the classroom, and they're all the other boys, they're one of the smaller boys in the classroom, and they're subject to getting bullied or teased or made fun of. Yes.
Is there going to be ages 15 and 16 in this lesson?
Well, we are talking, this is, adolescence does cover 15 and 16. Adolescence covers that group. This is just when the physical body starts to change for boys and girls. And so it's called puberty because this is the period in which maturation, maturing of the sexual organs take place. So around 11 or 12 for girls, 13 or 14 for boys. The period in which a person becomes capable of reproducing, meaning 11 or 12 for girls, 13 or 14 for boys, they can actually produce a child. Girls start to experience what's called menstruation, boys, spermarchy. For girls, that means their body's releasing eggs. Spermarchy meaning boys' semen has active sperm that can impregnate the person. It's kind of a weird thing because it just mentions intense sexual feelings are starting to show. And so if these young people get together, they may not have planned it, but somebody could get pregnant. Because once you hit puberty, it's possible. Also, when it comes to social development, I mentioned that a moment ago, trying to figure out who you are. During the teenage years, you start asking questions like, well, who am I? How do I fit in the world? How do I even fit in with my family? What is life all about? Why is life so hard? Why am I here? Why are we here? You start all these questions, trying to figure stuff out, and then and some of these questions, I don't know, you're being influenced by your peer group, being influenced by your parents, being influenced by social media, just trying to figure stuff out, and trying to really be liked. Who doesn't want to be liked? So the reality is most young people pass through adolescence without any significant turmoil. I don't know if that's true or not. But this is where we kind of develop and figure out who we are. And for sometimes risky behaviors are part of teenage years because our brain is still developing until about 25. So there you are with all these impulses, whether it be sexual impulses, whether it be impulses to just do things that are risky, maybe even dangerous. That's why teenagers do some of the most, I don't think you guys can duplicate this, but every once in a while in New York, young people do this thing where they actually ride on the top of a train car. Have you guys seen this? It's some type of surfing or something. You understand, like they're on a commuter train on the top while it's moving like it's a freaking surfboard. And people have been severely injured doing that. That's that risk-taking adolescent stage that, I mean, I'm sure a lot of you guys can tell me stuff that you did or you saw people do as a teenager, like, ooh, I can tell you, let's say this. I've done a few things and a few parties that if it would have went left, I wouldn't even be here teaching you guys right now. That's how left. I mean, yeah, like I dare be in jail because you just do things. Yeah, so all these visions are going through my head, so I'm just gonna move on. I'm just gonna move on. And I don't know if I mentioned this before. I remember one time me and one of my close friends, we were sitting in the car, and we were just thinking about all the things we did when we were teens. Like, what the heck were we thinking? Everything from alcohol to unprotected sex. Like, yeah, it's amazing. You get older, you look back and think, I don't know what I was thinking. And I have friends who took more chances than I did. Like I, at least even as a teenager, I had my rule. I was like, no, I'm not doing that. I had friends who'd be like, yo, let's skip this next class and go drink. I'm like, we got a trig test. They're like, so it may help you with the test. I'm gonna be honest, that's my friend. I was like, no, I can't, no, I'm not gonna go drink in the middle of the day and then expect to come back and take a trig. That's not gonna work. I'm already bad at math. Or I had friends who would go to the mall and steal stuff. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. Because if my mother finds out I got caught stealing, it's gonna be a major problem. So they would come back and show me all the stuff they got. No, I had my limits. There were, during the wintertime in Chicago, this is stupid too. So if a car, like say it snowed, and there's a car going down the street, they would run behind, because the car is going kind of slow because it's slippery. They would run behind the car and grab onto the back of the bumper and like scoot down and like literally just ski on the back of this car in the snow. I'm just telling you what this is one friend. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. So I was a teenager. I made some poor decisions, but they were doing stuff. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. No. They would have BB guns and sometimes shoot out people's windows. I remember one time they were at one of my friends' house. They were literally cars they were driving by. They were literally shooting BBs at the cars traffic light. I know at least one time somebody's window got shot out. I wasn't doing that. I'm sorry. What was that? I'm just telling you, I had people, my friends been able to tell me they did some, I had my limits. I was certain things I wouldn't take a chance at. Okay. I already talked about how teenagers, our emotions are on extra. When we get sad, we get really sad as a teenager. Unfortunately, some adolescents struggle with dealing with depression, and they commit suicide. I just want you to write down this very unfortunate statistic. Suicide is the second leading cause of death among individuals between the ages of 10 and 17. The only thing that is ranked higher is accidents. Second leading cause of death between people 10 and 17, at least in this country. And most people believe that that statistic is understated. Most people believe that it's probably more people, it probably happens more than we think. As many as 200 people may attempt suicide for every one person who actually does it. So that means for every one teenager who successfully took their life, there's another 200 who tried to do it, but they weren't successful. Maybe they took a bunch of pills, but then somebody took them to the hospital the time they got their stomach pumped. Maybe they tried to hang themselves, and whatever tried to hang themselves on, it broke.
Jump,
There's a lot
hang.
of young people struggling with being resilient, struggling with managing their emotions, often feeling they don't have anywhere else to turn to. To be honest with you, I think thinking about ending your life as a teenager is far more common than people realize. I don't even want to do the survey, but I can guarantee you, a lot of us in this room, as a teenager, thought about maybe I don't want to be here anymore. And I'm saying that, I'm trying to normalize it for you. So if you have thought that way before, or you thought that way as a teen, I get it. It's not abnormal. You're not the only one who, as a teenager, thought about maybe I don't want to be here. I'm tired of my life being this way. I'm tired of hurting like this. You had a bad breakup, or your parents get on your nerve, or you're struggling in school. And then we start comparing ourselves to other people, especially as a teenager. We do it as adults, but teenagers are constantly comparing themselves to other people. Girls compare themselves to the popular girls. Regular girls compare themselves to the popular girls. Regular guys compare themselves to the popular guys. How come I don't have that car? How come I don't have a cell phone? All that comparison just bums us out. Unfortunately, when we get out of our teens, we learn, hopefully, how to better deal with our emotions, but it's difficult. Males are 5 times more likely to commit suicide. 5 times more. Females attempt it more, but males are more successful. What you thinking, Cap One? Why do females attempt it more, but males are more successful? Why do you guys think? Yes.
Maybe men who attempt it are less likely to tell people that they've attempted it.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's, most people don't want that. Most people will deny if they even try it. You try to kill yourself, Tom? Yes.
I feel like just the physical ability of a male is a lot stronger than like a female. So I feel like when it comes to like just second guessing or second chancing, like a male is just gonna do it.
Males, when they commit to something, sometimes they really commit. A female may second guess, or maybe not. What's another reason why males can be more successful, especially adolescent males, at killing themselves than females? No idea? Okay, let's just guess. Hopefully none of you have personal stories. If you had to take a guess, what method might a teenage girl use to kill herself? Overdose? Yeah, drugs. They may take overdose. What method might a teenage boy use? Asphyxiation. What else? Gun. Exactly. That's why they're more successful. It's not typical that a female, pretty much any age, but I don't think, is going to use a gun. A male will. I'm not saying males don't take pills to try to themselves, but that's not typically what a male is going to do. And not only if you take pills, it doesn't guarantee anything. People have tried to OD on pills and survive. They got somebody found them in time, they got rushed to the hospital, they got their stomach pumped, they got charcoal pumped in their stomach or whatever, and they got sick. Easy access to weapons is a factor that contributes to suicide. That's why they always say, if your parents have children and they have a gun in the house, they need to lock it up. It shouldn't be accessible. Bullying, unfortunately, contributes to suicide as well. A lot of people who are bullied have ended their life. And because of the internet, which I feel is one of mankind's greatest inventions, while simultaneously being one of its greatest curses, people have taken their life as a result of cyberbullying. Not just one or two, you could Google it. There's tons of people who took their lives because they were being bullied online. And sometimes, unfortunately, suicides happen in clusters. What does that mean? That means sometimes in a community, could be a community, could be a school, where all of a sudden one person kills himself and then somebody else does it. So now it's happening in like little groups, which is also unfortunate. All right, so we're gonna move on from that unfortunate topic, but first I need to do the warning signs. These are typical signs. This is mainly for adolescents. We're talking about teenagers. Warning signs: school problems, frequent incidences of self-destructive behavior, meaning doing things to hurt themselves, loss of appetite, or either they're not hungry anymore, I'm not hungry, or they're eating too much, they're eating excessively, pulling back from friends or peers, sleeping problems. Sleeping problems could be unable to sleep, it could be sleeping too much. Signs of depression are a sign for somebody considering suicide. Maybe more tearful. Preoccupation with death, like they start talking more and more about death. They're like, why are you talking about death all the time? Putting affairs in order, like they're saying, they're like, hey, this is my favorite video game, I'm gonna give this to my best friend, Steve. Like, whoa, why are you doing that? Oh, and Tommy, you can take my Jordans. And of course, announcement of suicidal thoughts, like when they're actually literally saying it verbally or writing it down about not being here anymore. So, okay, and some of the reasons people, when they call in to a helpline and people are struggling, typically when they call into a hotline, The number one issue is usually family problems, followed by peer relationships, self-esteem. Sometimes people call a hotline because they just want to talk, drugs, alcohol, abuse, sexuality, and so on. All right, so this is important for anybody, not just teens, who, if somebody's feeling like they may want to do something for themselves, there is help out there for anybody. Severe depression, there are literally people available 24/7 in Progress 17. 988 is a suicide and crisis lifeline. Whenever you call us, we do whatever we call you. Then we have locally, there's a Georgia Crisis and Access line as well. Or if somebody's feeling really bad, or you know somebody that's feeling really down on themselves and think they might hurt themselves, you can just go to the emergency room.
Mr. Jones,
Yes.
what are, you know, adults and suicide options for teens or anyone feeling suicidal?
Mm-hmm.
What's so important about it?
Hmm?
What's so important about it?
Because we don't want anybody to kill themselves. We want people to get help. That's why. We want people to get help. Like I said, many of in this room have struggled with being sad, or struggled with dealing with a difficult issue. And hopefully, if a person don't have access to this stuff, hopefully we at least have a friend, or maybe a family member we can talk to. We're social creatures. We all want somebody to talk to.
I don't mind saying this, I've been to at least one of the hospitals, and it seems like, I don't know, they just don't care. I don't know. They act like they just more like a patient, and they, you know, they give the bare minimum. They give attitude, that's for certain. They're real rough with you, you know, early in the morning, so.
Well, I don't doubt your experience, and I appreciate you being willing to share that. I'm just gonna keep it real with you guys. So you had an unfortunate experience being in a facility and people were just under care. The reality is that whatever the profession is, there are going to be people who are either not good at their job, don't care about their job, or only doing it for the money. That's just the reality. I wish that wasn't the case. Especially, it's one thing if you don't care about your job and you work driving a forklift of a factory. That's one thing. That's fine if you don't care about your job. But if you have a job where you have to work with people, it'd be better if you care about your job. It'd be better if you really want to help. It's just better. Like forklift driving, fine. You don't have to. It's fine. You don't have to care about your job. You can think your job sucks. Excuse my bluntness. But you're not involved in people. If you're going to be a police officer, you should care about people. In my opinion, it's really helpful. But unfortunately, all cops don't care about their jobs. So we have cops who aren't good cops. We have doctors who aren't good doctors. We have teachers who aren't good teachers. Some of you have had teachers who are just doing it to earn a living. I mean, it's true. Maybe they went to school, they got their advanced degrees, and okay, I'm in this profession. I don't like it. Some of them, the older ones, may be doing it just because they got to hang on a few more years so I can retire. I want to be able to get my retirement money. But once again, that's a profession that involves serving other people, so it's better if you do care about their job. Most of us, the teachers who we remember the best are the teachers who truly care. They cared about you as a person, they cared about the class, they cared about you learning. Those are the ones we remember. And we remember the ones who are really mean too. The ones who are really mean or really hard, we remember those too. But generally, we remember the ones who are really, you could tell, they're really into teaching. They really care. So yes, but unfortunately, like I said, I mean, I wouldn't want to have a surgeon operating on me who don't care about being a doctor. Like, that would be horrible. Like, he just, okay, fine, let me just go in here. Like, what? No, I want you to care. I want you to want to provide me some good service. Okay, let me show you something real quick. It's kind of, it's a real short video. It's just, it's a 2-minute video. It's kind of old, but we're just gonna hear teens talk about social media.
How old is it?
Probably about 5, 6 years old. But it's still relatable, because it's about teens and the importance that so many teens place on their devices. And so, and we go to each group, I'm gonna have a little video to show you about each group, so, because we're about to go into adulthood in a minute, but before we go into adulthood, this is teens being tethered to their phones and social media. Some of you might be able to relate.
I know it as like a parent social media kind of thing. Like, no, I do not use Facebook. I know it as like a parent social media kind of thing. Like my grandma, my aunts are on Facebook.
That was like the first thing to come out, Facebook. So like after like Instagram and all that came out, we wanted to get the newer thing.
I use my phone for everything.
Instagram and Snapchat.
I either go on Snapchat or I'm on Instagram.
I do use Uber.
I'm on Snapchat and Instagram a lot. I'm using Instagram just to post pictures that I feel like pretty confident about.
I used to get above 100 likes.
I don't know, probably like 130.
In the 200s.
Maybe like 74.
When my friend doesn't like my photo, I'm just like my photo.
You tell them about it.
Yeah.
My mom sometimes she wants to like go outside and like get some fresh air.
They're taking away my chargers. They say that I'm gonna go crazy because I spend too much time on my phone.
You're wasting your time frying your brain on that screen.
Yes, I can imagine 2 days like going technology because then I would be outside working out and getting better at sports.
I really don't think that I can imagine a world without technology.
I gotta think about that. I don't know what to do then. My parents are always like, yeah, when I was growing up, we had to play outside, and we never had phones.
So I think they were more close with their friends and family. They didn't have like an excuse to be like on their phone at the dinner table. There was no phones at the dinner table.
What does worry me about technology is people like cyberbullying.
People are called names when they try to speak their mind.
There's always people that are gonna hate on you, and you should just concentrate on the people that like your stuff.
Do you know people who are liking your photo?
I know probably 80 to 90% of the people who are liking my photos.
Before I met somebody, I've seen their Instagrams and see how they look and see how they like kind of act and how they perceive themselves. And so without that, I really just don't know how I would like, I don't know, see people or get to know people.
This is my brief but spectacular take.
And this is my brief but spectacular take.
On technology.
On being a teenager, on what technology means to me.
Anything else you want to say? Follow me on Instagram.
That was pretty easy.
And there we go. Who's on Instagram in here? Snapchat? What? X is not X anymore, right? What is it?
Let's go Twitter. Oh, it's gonna be
X Twitter, who's on that? And I know it's just y'all younger. Who's on Facebook? What? I'm impressed. What?
I just be using it for
I saw these
marketplace.
okay?
I just be using it for marketplace.
You just use it for marketplace. Okay, we use it for business.
Sometimes I use Messenger or something.
Messenger. Wow, I'm not even making this up. Whenever I ask that question, that's the most people in your age group that I've ever seen on Facebook. I'm impressed. I'm really impressed. But of course, most of everybody's on Instagram. Because you already told me when y'all meet somebody, you're not giving me your phone number, you're gonna give me Instagram. Okay, I get it. I get it. But that is really interesting. Wow. Yeah, I'm only on Instagram and Facebook.
Okay.
No.
Please, no.
No. And then Twitter/X is, you all know that that's being purchased, right? You guys know that?
It's being purchased right now.
It's in the midst of being purchased. Well, because, wait a minute, let me get my stuff straight. So Elon owns, what did he purchase?
Twitter.
Twitter, okay. What's the one that has all the short videos?
That's TikTok.
TikTok. That's what's about to be bought. TikTok is about to be bought, because China, that's their thing, they own TikTok. But now, some American company's gonna buy it. I'm not gonna get into the political meanings of what that could mean, but Okay, so we are going to start here, and we're gonna say adulthood. We're gonna transition to adulthood now. We're done with teens. We're gonna do adulthood on Tuesday. But for those of you here earlier, I said I'm gonna go over the midterm assessment assignment in case you aren't aware. Some of you may not have noticed. Yes.
Sorry, you shouldn't do it.
Okay. So I'm gonna pull it up so you can see. This is a school thing. I didn't create this assignment. This is, but they really want you guys to do it. It's important. So you simply go to your Blackboard page and you go to lessons like you normally do to do your lessons. Yes, sir.
And then the assignment that was due on 8th of October, which was yesterday, no grade came up.
I didn't put it in there.
Oh.
I'll put it in. That was it. No, it's just that he's talking about the in-class assignment you did. I didn't put the one, if you were here, you get 10 points because you did the in-class.
Okay.
Okay, so you go to lessons, like you normally do. But on lesson 4, here's chapter 6, memory, chapter 8, where you do those quizzes. Don't forget, those quizzes are due on Monday the 13th.
I did them yesterday.
Outstanding. But above that, you have the midterm assessment assignment. The due date, 10/17. Okay? 10/17. And what is that assignment? Like, they really want you guys to do this, like, for real. Like, I just told me this. It's really simple. All you do is, when you click on it, it's midterm assessment. Right here, it says memory bombs. This is an article. You click on the article. It is a very short article. Let me show you how short this article is. It's literally this page and this page. That's it. This is it. This. You need to read this. And once you do that, you're gonna answer 4 questions. Here are the questions right there. But then, so right here, in your own words, describe the evidence used to support the data. Type your answer in here. It's worth 20 each question. And then here's another question. What does the term inattention blindness mean as used in this article? Put your answer in here. Question 3, put your answer here. 4. Each question is worth 25 points.
I did that yesterday as well.
Look at you, yo, you're just on top of stuff, ain't you? So, like I said, it's due Friday, October 17th. So you have time. You saw how short that article is. It's extremely short. It's an article from the magazine Psychology Today. I don't know how they selected it, but they purposely picked a very short article so nobody would feel like they're stressed or you have a lot on your plate. So yeah, so let's just answer those 5 questions, read this article, and you're done. Does anybody have any questions about this assignment? No? Okay. Let me come on. Did everybody sign the attendance sheet for me too? Okay, where's the attendance sheet? I'll pass it to the pass it back.
Oh, I didn't sign yet.
Does anybody, another, if you did not take the second test, or maybe missed the first test, just a reminder, it's up to you to get with me to decide when you want to make up the test. If you want to make it up, just know, I'm going to put it down on everybody. Or you can take it when you take your final, all right? You guys have a great, safe weekend, and I'll see you on Tuesday.